Why Turkish, my dear Watson? Why Turkish?
Turkish? My boots, Holmes?
No. I mean the bath. Why the relaxing and expensive Turkish rather than the invigorating homemade article?
Oh, for the simple reason that for the past few days I've been feeling rheumatic-y and old.
Really, Watson?
By the way, Holmes, I've no doubt the connection between my boots and a Turkish bath is clear enough to a logical mind like yours. But I would be obliged if you'd let me in on the secret.
You are in the habit of doing up your boots in a certain way. I see them on this occasion fastened with an elaborate double bow. Who has tied them for you? A bootmaker? Unlikely. The boots are not new. So what remains? Only, I fancy, the attendant at the bath.
Remarkable.
Well, for all that, the Turkish bath has served quite another purpose.
Oh? What's that?
It led you to tell me you needed a change. Let me suggest that you take one. How would Lausanne do?
Lausanne?
First-class tickets and all expenses paid on a princely scale.
Splendid. What's it all about, Holmes?
One of the most dangerous classes in this world, my dear Watson, is the drifting and friendless woman. She is the inevitable inciter of crime in others.
How so?
She has sufficient means to take her from country to country and from hotel to hotel. She is lost as often as not in a maze of obscure pensions and boarding houses, a stray chicken in a world of foxes, Watson. And when she is gobbled up, she's hardly missed. I very much fear some evil has come to the Lady Frances Carfax.
Aha! So now we descend from the general to the particular.
Lady Frances is the sole survivor of the direct family of the late Earl of Rufton. She was left with limited means, but with some very remarkable old Spanish jewellery. She refused to leave them in the bank and always carried them about with her.
What sort of a woman is she, then?
Rather pathetic. Beautiful. Still in fresh middle age, but all the same she is the last derelict of what only 20 years ago was a goodly fleet.
So what has happened to her?
All I can tell you is that for 4 years it has been her custom to write every second week to her old governess, Miss Dobney, who lives in Camberwell. It is Miss Dobney who has consulted me.
Ah.
Nearly 5 weeks have passed without a word. The last letter was from the Hotel National at Lausanne. Lady Frances seems to have left there and given no address.
Surely she had other correspondents?
There is one correspondent who is a sure draw, Watson. Her bank, single ladies' passbooks, her compressed diaries. I have been able to glance over her account. The last cheque drawn was to a Miss Marie Devine. It was cashed at the Crédit Lyonnais less than 3 weeks ago. The sum was £50.
Do you know who Miss Marie Devine is?
Yes, Lady Frances Carfax's maid. Why she should have paid her this cheque we have not yet determined. No doubt your researches will soon clear that up.
My researches?
Hence the health-giving expedition to Lausanne.
Oh.
1 or 2 matters prevent me from leaving the country just at the moment. Besides, on general principles, it's best for me not to go. Scotland Yard feels lonely without me, and it causes an unhealthy excitement among the criminal classes.
Really, Holmes?
You'll go, then?
Of course.
Good luck, then. And if my humble counsel can ever be valued at so extravagant a rate as 2pence a word, it waits your disposal night and day at the end of the Continental Wire.
Oh, yes, but certainly, Monsieur Watson. Milady Carfax was very much liked by all my staff. A charming lady, monsieur. She was very happy here in Lausanne.
Yet she left quite suddenly, I understand, Monsieur Moser.
That I cannot comprehend. She had no intention to leave, and suddenly comes this sauvage.
Sauvage? Oh, savage. Who was he?
That I cannot say. He come to visit milady a day or two before she go away. Big and black of the beard. But milady will not see him. Then next day, poof, she goes.
Oh. What nationality?
Oh, Anglais.
You mean English?
Oui.
Well, you have been very helpful indeed, Monsieur Moser. There is just one more thing, though. When Lady Frances left, did her maid accompany her?
Marie Devine, no. She has gone to Montpellier.
Huh? Well, to another situation?
Yes, monsieur.
Oh.
Here is our address.
Oh. Thank you. Very well, then. I must go there, too. Thank you again, monsieur. Merci. Merci beaucoup.
The pleasure is mine, sir.
Sherlock Holmes, 221B, Baker Street, London. Before proceeding, shall visit Baden-Baden. Have ascertained Lady Frances dispatched luggage there by roundabout route before leaving Lausanne. Regards, Watson.
Oh, ja, Herr Doctor. The lady Carfax was here for 10 days. She has gone away 3 weeks since.
I see. Have you any idea what she did with her time here in Baden-Baden, Dietrich? I mean, did she strike up acquaintance with any other guests here?
Ah, yes. There was Dr. Schlesinger and his wife. They have a very good friendship made with the lady Carfax.
Dr. Schlesinger? A German doctor?
Nein, he was from South America. He and his wife were, missionaries, huh?
Oh, no, missionaries.
Ah, thank you. The lady Carfax, you know, is very much religious, so they have become friends very quick.
Oh.
The Dr. Schlesinger has been sick, you know, and he sits all the days here in his chair on his terrace and makes the map of the Holy Land.
Good heavens.
With him every day is his wife and the lady Carfax.
Ah.
These two ladies, they nurse him, and he has got better again. He and his wife go back to London, and the other lady too.
They all went to London?
Yeah, all go. Dr. Schlesinger pays the bill for them all.
One more question, Dietrich. Has any other person inquired here for Lady Carfax since she left?
A week ago, an Englishman, very
Sauvage?
savage, exact, with a beard and of the face very fierce. Oh, yeah, savage, very savage.
I hope your stay in Montpellier will be most pleasant, Monsieur Watson. Oh, here is a telegram for you from London.
Progress capital. A credit to my training. Please wire description of Schlesinger's left ear. Holmes. Schlesinger's left ear.
I tell you quite true, Dr. Watson. I have only left my lady because I will marry soon. When I see her at last in good hands with the Dr. Schlesinger and Madame, well, I think the good time is now come.
But you were friends with Lady Frances when you left her, Miss Devine?
Oh, of course. She gave me £50 for the wedding present.
Yes, well, now, to go back to this savage-looking man with a beard. Do you think it possible your mistress left Lausanne to get away from him?
Oh, yes, it is true, I know. Milady has nothing said to me, but I can see she is afraid. Mon Dieu!
What's the matter? Miss Devine?
Oh, sacre, no, out of the window, see!
Huh? Where?
There, it is he, with the beard.
Good Lord!
Oh, monsieur, what is he doing here?
Well, at the moment, he appears to be looking at the house numbers. You're sure he's the one?
Oh, yes.
Then I suppose he was proposing to pay you a visit. Now, why would that be?
Oh, I don't know, monsieur. Oh, monsieur, I am afraid.
Don't worry. I'll go out and have a word with him myself. You stay here. Excuse me. May I ask if you are an Englishman?
Yes, I am. What about it?
May I ask your name?
You certainly may not.
I see. Perhaps, then, you will tell me where I can find the Lady Frances Carfax.
Why, you...
Merci beaucoup.
Il n'y a pas de quoi, monsieur. Watson, listen to me.
Holmes!
Quietly, man. You've made a pretty enough hash of things already.
Ah, monsieur, il me faut vous accompagner à votre hôtel.
Let's get away before some gendarme gets curious. Lead on to your hotel. Quickly now.
Very well, Holmes. Merci, monsieur. Au revoir, merci beaucoup.
Well, Watson, a nice mess you've made of things.
Now, look here, Holmes.
I cannot at the moment recall any possible blunder you've omitted. All you have done is to give the alarm everywhere and discover nothing.
Oh, no doubt you would have done better.
I have done better.
Huh?
You'll see in a moment. I'm expecting a visitor.
In my room?
I sent word to him from the reception desk as we came up.
Very well. But look here, you might at least tell me how you came to be near that girl's house, dressed in that road sweeper's get-up, just in time to butt in. Thanks, by the way.
My dear Watson, think nothing of it. I sensed that things weren't going too well. You have been a bit tactless, you know. And when I found I was able to get away from London after all, I decided to head you off at the earliest opportunity. I was going to intercept you when you left the girl's house. I didn't bargain for anything quite so dramatic, though. I fancy this will be our visitor. He's a fellow lodger of yours in this hotel. Come in, my dear sir.
Thank you.
Good Lord, the savage!
This is the Honourable Philip Green, Watson. Mr. Green, this is Dr. Watson, my old friend and associate.
How do you do?
How do you do?
He's helping us in this affair. But, of course, you've already met.
Yes, I hope I didn't hurt you, Dr. Watson. Of course, if I'd known...
I must say, sir, I don't understand.
Yes, well, when you came up to me like that and started asking questions about Francis so accusingly, I admit I lost my grip. My nerves these days are like live wires, but all this business is beyond me.
And me.
I had better tell you then, Mr. Green, that I learned of your existence through Miss Daubney, Lady Francis' old governess.
Oh, Susan Daubney, with the mob cap. I remember her well.
That would be in the days before you found it better to go to South Africa?
What? Yes, I see you know my story then, Mr. Holmes. Very well. You see, there was never a young man in this world loved a woman more than I loved Francis. But the trouble was, well, I'd always been a pretty wild youngster, and when she got to hear of some of my goings-on, she had nothing more to do with me. And yet, when I came back, all these years after, and heard she was unmarried still, I found her at Lausanne. I tried all I knew to convince her I was a changed man. She was weakening a bit, I think. But when I called again, she'd left the town. When I heard her maid was here in Montpellier, I thought I'd find out what she knew. But now, Mr. Holmes, if you do know anything about Lady Francis, for heaven's sake, please tell me it.
You can rest assured that everything possible will be done. What is your London address?
The Langham Hotel will find me.
Then may I recommend you to return there and be on hand in case I want you? Watson, if you will pack your bag, I will cable to Mrs. Hudson to make one of her best efforts for 2 hungry travellers arriving at 221B Baker Street at 7:30 tomorrow.
Holmes, here's a telegram for you from Baden-Baden.
From your friend Herr Dietrich, manager of the Englischer Hof. Here you are.
Jagged or torn. That's all it says. Jagged or torn? What on earth, Holmes?
A description of Schlesinger's left ear. I thought you might have left Baden by the time my inquiry reached you, so I sent a duplicate to Herr Dietrich.
What does it show, then?
It shows, as I suspected, that the Reverend Dr. Schlesinger, missionary from South America, is none other than Holy Peter's, one of the most unscrupulous rascals that ever came out of Australia.
Good Lord.
His particular speciality is the beguiling of lonely ladies by playing upon their religious feelings. His so-called wife, an Englishwoman called Fraser, helps him.
How on earth did you guess that?
It was no guess. The nature of Schlesinger's tactics suggested his identity at once. I knew Holy Peters had been badly bitten about the ear in a saloon fight in Adelaide in '89, so this telegram confirms my suspicion. This poor Lady Francis is in the hands of an infernal couple, Watson. They'll stick at nothing.
Not murder?
I'm afraid it's more than likely she is dead already. If not, she's undoubtedly in some sort of captivity.
Perhaps she never even got here to London with Schlesinger and this other woman.
On the other hand, if she is alive, all my instincts tell me they'll have her here. I suggest we eat our dinner, then I will take the obvious step of strolling down to Scotland Yard and asking our friend Lestrade to keep a lookout for us. Then we must possess our souls in patience and hope we have some news.
Mr. Holmes!
Mr. Green?
Mr. Holmes, I've seen the woman in the Westminster Road. I followed her into a pawnbroker's. She sold a pendant and some other jewels.
Belonging to Lady Frances Carfax?
Without a doubt.
You didn't intervene, though?
No. She got a cab, and I followed her in another.
Excellent.
She got down at number 36 Putney Square, Brixton. I drove round the corner and walked back to the house. But just then a van came up and two men started to unload it. I saw what they took out, Mr. Holmes. It was a coffin.
Great heavens!
They carried it up to the door of number 36, and the woman let them in with it. I thought for a moment of rushing in, but I remembered my promise to you and came straight back here.
You've done excellent work, Mr. Green.
The coffin, Mr. Holmes. Do you think...
Not a moment will be lost. But we can do nothing legal without a warrant. And if you want to help further, you'll take the note I shall write down to the authorities and get one.
Gladly.
As for us, Watson, there is not a moment to be lost getting to Putney Square. Mr. Green will set the regular forces on the move. We, as usual, are the irregulars, and we must take our own line of action. The situation is desperate, and extreme measures are justified. This is the house, Watson, number 36.
What about the police? And the warrant?
There is no time to waste keeping within the four corners of the law. We must just take our chance together as so often in the past.
I'm with you, Holmes.
Gentlemen.
You are Henry Peters of Adelaide, late the Reverend Dr. Schlesinger of Baden and South America. I am Sherlock Holmes. I want to know what you have done with the Lady Frances Carfax.
Oh, is that it? I'd be very glad if you could tell me where she is. She attached herself onto Mrs. Peters a mere Baden, and she stuck onto us till London. I paid her bill and her ticket. Once in London, she gave us the slip. You find her, Mr. Holmes, and I'm in your debt.
I mean to find her. I'm going through this house till I do find her.
Henry, what's happening?
Oh, Annie, there you are, my love. Go and fetch a policeman, will you?
Oh, all right, love. But take care, though. I won't be a jet.
Holmes?
Let her go, Watson. It merely means our time is limited. Now, Peters, where is that coffin?
What do you want with the coffin?
I want to see the body inside it.
Not with my consent, you won't.
Without it, then.
Oh, have it your own way. It's in here.
Thank you. Have the goodness to turn up the lights, Watson.
Oh, do allow me.
Thank you. And now let's take a look.
Lady Frances?
I think not.
Thank heaven.
Blundered for once, haven't you?
Who is this, Peters?
It's an old nurse of my wife's, Rose Spender, she was called. We found her in Brixton Workhouse Infirmary, and like Christian folk, we brought her here to die. Mind you take the address of the doctor who's been to see her. It's Dr. Horsam of 13 Furbank Villas.
Awesome. Yes, I know him.
She died after 3 days. He signed the certificate. Senile decay. Only, of course, that's only a doctor's opinion. Sherlock Holmes would know better, eh? Anyway, Stimpson and Company of the Kennington Road are burying her at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Pick any holes in that lot, Mr. Holmes?
Just the same, I'm going through your house.
This way, Ma'am?
Yes, in here, officers.
Are you, though? This way, officers, if you please. These men have forced their way into my house, and I can't get rid of them.
Now then, what's all this about?
Here is my card, Sergeant.
Oh, well, of course, sir. We know all about you, sir. But you can't stay here without a warrant, sir.
I quite understand that.
Arrest them!
We know where to lay our hands on this gentleman if he's wanted, sir. But you'll have to go, Mr. Holmes.
Yes, Watson, we shall have to go. Come along, my dear fellow.
Watson, wake up quickly. Why, I am awake. I'm just going to get up.
What time was the funeral to be? 8, wasn't it?
Funeral? Yes, 8. That's it. Holmes, what on earth's the matter?
I should have seen it sooner. The funeral is at 8 and it's now approaching 7:20. I'll never forgive myself if we're too late. Now, come on, for heaven's sake. It's life or death, I tell you.
Thank heaven. The hearse. Still standing outside the house.
Yes, and there comes the coffin. Right, my good men. Take that coffin back inside at once, if you please.
Here, what the devil are you up to? Interfering again, are you? And at a Christian funeral this time?
A warrant is on its way, Peters. Come along, my men.
Well, I don't know.
Do as I tell you or you'll be sorry. This is police work.
Hey? Oh, police work. Fred, you heard the gent. To you now. And careful.
Put it down here. Now, there's a sovereign for you if the lid's off in 1 minute.
Come on, Fred.
Peters has slipped off somewhere, Holmes. You want me to take a look?
Never mind him, Watson. There may be work for you here.
There you are, sir. Cool. What a stink.
It's chloroform, Holmes.
Lord love us. There's 2 of them.
And the second, if I'm not mistaken, Watson, is the lady for whom we've been seeking. The point is, are we in time?
Let me see. Oh, I can't tell. It's saturated with chloroform. Artificial respiration's the only chance. Holmes, send a fellow off in a cab to the nearest surgery, will you? I must have some ether and a syringe. I'll get to work as best I can in the meanwhile.
Capital, my dear Watson. Splendid work.
Well, it was touch and go, Holmes. Another few minutes.
Ah, yes. But she's safe now.
Oh, completely. She'll be in a hospital bed by now, if they've got a move on. Oh, Jove, Holmes, that coffin was almost swimming in chloroform.
They meant to make sure.
Well, perhaps now this poor little old workhouse lady can have her funeral after all.
At least she'll have her coffin to herself.
Yes. She looks quite lost in it.
That, my dear Watson, is an observation I wish you had made when friend Peters first showed her to us the other day.
Well, you saw her too, Holmes.
Yes. And should you care to add this case to your annals, Watson, you may put it down as an example of temporary eclipse of the mind. I spent the whole of last night trying to hit on the clue which I knew would bring us the solution to this case. And all the time it was here, this overlarge coffin for this tiny, wasted old woman.
Specially ordered, you mean? To leave room for Lady Frances's body, too?
Exactly. They would both have been buried under the one certificate.
Good heavens.
Even if there ever had been an exhumation, which wasn't very likely, there would have been no marks of violence on her. In any case, Peters would have been through half a dozen other aliases by then.
Oh, it's horrible, Holmes. They kept that poor lady captive all this time. And then, when they got all they needed from her, this was their way of disposing of her. Of all the cold-blooded fiends I ever heard of.
Fiendish, but very, very clever. Quite new in the annals of crime, I should say. It's too much to expect, I suppose, that they'll have escaped the hands of our Scotland Yard friends. Such brilliant originality could have kept us happily engaged for years to come, my dear Watson.
Huh?
Eh? Don't you agree?
Oh, really?